what we're going to do, like I said, the henna, start with teaching you or showing you a little bit about what's on the table. This is your table for the week, okay? When you get to come around, you'll see these 2 magazine cutouts, okay? This one is of the nail art, so some like nail press-on nails, has kind of a henna design, and the artist here did the henna on the hands. You can tell that this artist did not know how to do henna. They had an idea, but was not skilled at it because it's just a bunch of lines, and there's a lot of mistakes you can see in it. This one was an actual bit about henna, and she did a very good job, very skilled, okay, very precise, added some little diamonds to it, did a good job. You can totally tell the difference of the quality of the work in 2. They're both magazine clippings. They're both a brand or a product or a, magazine company, right? You can tell the difference of the 2. So these got out of magazine. You can do henna and end up in a magazine. That is something that is possible and that can happen. It is something out in the industry. We got one that's a cutout of a photo shoot they did, and this is just kind of tribal art. It's just kind of a body paint type deal, but it has a connection with the history of cosmetology, so I did pull that out, okay? Because we are working on our bridal design as well. So the other thing that we have on here, there's some resources, some books that have some information about henna and whatnot. There's some library books that are out there as well that we have for henna, should you choose. We're not working with the real henna paste, okay? I'll probably get fired, okay, because it's somewhat of a temporary tattoo, the actual henna. We are going to be working just with liquid eyeliners or eyeliner pencils, okay? If we were to do the actual the paste type of technique, it's going to be just the cholesterol, like gel. It's not going to be real stuff. But here's techniques and how to make the paste and how to work with it. Should you want to play with this at home or have some of this in your toolkit, Walmart sells these, or this is where I got it at Walmart. I'm sure other stores sell it too. Bic, the brand that sells the pens, okay, they sell this. It's called Body Mark. It's a temporary tattoo marker. It's brown and black. It lasts a couple days, kind of like a permanent marker, I guess you can say. It just draws on your skin. It just comes off eventually. But that's what these are. This is out there in the industry. Should you choose that to be something you put in your toolkit. We're going to be working out of this packet. This is a new packet I revamped this year, okay? If you take a look at page 1, page 2, page 3, and 4, front and back, all of these designs on YouTube, I have a video of each of these on how I drew them. These are the actual designs from the videos. Should you choose to go, how does she do that? You want to go check them out? You can. Okay? The next pages are hands and feet. They're templates you can practice on, or you can just kind of put your hand on paper and trace your hand. Then you're going to have some designs, okay, out of textbooks or out of coloring page books. Just different designs that you can color, practice on, get inspiration from. That's what this packet is, okay? Now, we're going to do the flowers, the fills, the flowers, and the vines. We are then going to do this bird on the second page. And then at the end, your exit ticket today is this bird. Take a look at it. You think you can do that? I see a lot of no. Yes, you can. If you can do every letter, every number, and every punctuation mark, you can draw. You just don't know how to put those lines and shapes together to create something. But all drawing is a bunch of lines. Straight, angled, curved, but it's a bunch of lines put together to make something. You just don't know how. You don't have to know how yet, but you'll get there, okay? Henna, today in sophomore class we started nail art, and so I was talking about how to do specific nail art. The students were like, well, I remember, I don't know where, but I remember we've heard this vocabulary before. Yes, last year when we learned henna, I used these words to teach you this design technique. Like, oh yeah. So what I'm teaching you now is going to be a scaffold for what you're going to learn next year, and then what you're going to do in nail art and in hair coloring and in highlighting and in makeup design and body art and all of that. Okay? So it all goes together. All right? The other thing that we have on the table is your props for your photo shoot. So today you're going to learn how to do the designs, how to start them, how to break down a big design into small little pieces so you can create it. Tomorrow we'll do something similar to it, and then on Friday you're going to do the photo shoot. Sometimes we usually have it in the lab, it might be in here, it depends. My projector's not working, so I'm not able to do today on the board, so I apologize. But on Pinterest, I put it in Schoology already. There is a Pinterest board on there called Henna. If you look at it, you'll have different examples of what you might want to do on you. If you're under the front or the back of the hand, okay? And you have props, so you can do the, however you want to hold there's fans, there's jewelry, there's different little scarves and such with designs, and then this is the most popular one. It's like a tablecloth, and they put their hand on top and take a picture, okay? Sometimes students bring things from home. If you want to bring something from home, that's okay. They'll bring jewelry, they'll bring all kinds of stuff, and that whatever you choose is totally fine, okay? All right, so that is that. Any questions about any of that? All right, so we're going to take your marker, go ahead and put your name on both of your papers. Yes, on the white piece of paper, I apologize. Also, do put your name on your packet, so in case you lose it or leave it behind, we know who to give it to. Okay. All right, we're going to learn how to do our fills. Okay. With our fills, when you look at this, you're like, whoa, yeah, no, I can't do that. Sure you can. Find the starting point. So, we're going to do this fill here. However, big or small is up to you. We're going to do this fill. We're going to do a teardrop with a little swirl at the top. Go ahead and draw that on your paper. However big or however small you want to do is fine. Your base point is this dark semicircle at the bottom. So you're going to come from the angle. When I'm coloring it, because I'm up here on the board, it's a little more difficult. Yours is a little bit easier to do on yourself to make it perfect. That's my starting point. Then here I see two lines. So I'm going to do two curved lines. 1, 2. Then I see some flowers, flower petals. I have daisy flower petals. These I call daisy flower petals. They're long like this. Up, down, up, down. You want to make sure that it's even, same, symmetrical, balanced. You don't want to do this. We're not creating this circle loop in the middle. Key point, you're working on a curved line. Like when you're working on eyeliner, the eye line is not straight, it's curved. So you got to curve your hand with your eyeliner. Same thing. You got to come, and as you're doing, you got to curve your hand as you're creating your daisy petals. Using that pinky, stick your pinky out and put it down. Instead of putting the whole hand on the client's face, you just put the pinky down. Your pinky is going to be your balance point. Okay? Pinky's got to touch the table. Now your palm. Then the next thing that I see is another line. So I'm going to do a C-shaped circle line. And then I see another line. But I see like this Indian with a feather type of design. Like a band. With some triangles. So to make it easy for me, I'm going to make the other line for the band like this. And now I'm going to put my triangles. So I'm going to go up, down, curving my hand as I go because I'm working on a curved line. And like when I was in kindergarten, we were playing Indians and Cowboys and Indians. I made my little teepee design, my headband. We got my triangles. Well, in my design, my picture here, I see that there's little triangles inside of the big triangles. Okay, so let me put little triangles inside of my big triangles on the bottom, and then on the top. You always have to finish your design. See here on the edges, my pattern continues even though it doesn't fit. But if it didn't fit, and if I wouldn't have put anything there, then it just kind of looks like something's missing. So you always finish your pattern. Always finish your pattern. Okay, that's my pattern. If you look at my design or the design on the page here, it starts all over again. Okay, so we have one more line. We have our daisy petals. Then we have another line, and you continue. Do you see how it's a repetitive, it's a pattern? So for those that say there's no math in cosmetology, they're wrong. There is. It's basic math, but it's math nonetheless. It's pattern. Okay? All right. The next thing. Let's continue. You're going to make another teardrop. Okay? With this teardrop, now you're going to make a new pattern. Okay? Now with this pattern, what we're going to do, same thing, you're going to start at your angle here. Okay, you're going to start with the dot. After this dot, y'all do 2 circles outside of the dot. 2 circles outside of the dot. We're going to do the same flower petal except for this daisy. We're going to take 2 daisy flower petals and we're going to remove the middle and the bottom. So this is now an M. This is our new flower petal. So we're going to work this petal curve-wise. Like so. Finish your pattern. Super easy, right? Everybody can do the letter M. Yeah, everybody can do letter N. Now you can do flower petals. Outside of this flower petal, there is now a curved ladder design. So what we're going to do is we're going to curve 2 lines to make a ladder and a bunch of tick marks in between. Tick, tick, tick. Remember, pinky down to help you steady your hand. Make sure it's spaced evenly. Make sure the lines are parallel to themselves, but perpendicular to the curved line. That's your pattern. What are you going to do? You're going to copy and paste that exact pattern more times. But here's the question. Where do I put my next pattern? There's a certain point. You have to find your V. So everybody go like this. You got to find your V. Okay? Your V, you have a V here, or you have a V here. It's a sideways V, but it's a V. You cannot put your pattern right here because it doesn't look good. You got to find where the V is. So your pattern, you can either put the next one here. Whoop. You can start it here, or you can start it here. Right? Then you do your, I'm doing mine really fast, y'all, okay, so yours is going to be better. Right? And then where's your V? Your V is here, or here, or here. You have to find the V so that you can continue your pattern. You can't put one on top of the other because it doesn't look good. Just like bricks. Seen bricks to a house, they're kind of like alternated. It's kind of like that. You can stack them up, but they don't look as good. We're not going to do the rest of the fills because you can fill. You can do the rest of the fills, yeah? Lines, dots, semicircles, checkerboard boards. It's just the manipulation of the basic design that you just learned how to do. Questions? Let's learn about our petals. Okay, so you just learned the daisy petal, right? You learned the M petal, right? The M petal, you can also, almost like a heart, where it touches at the top and not the bottom. The other petal you have, kind of reminds me of a little corn, I don't know. It kind of is wide and comes down. Wide and comes down. Wide and comes down. I know I'm like going upwards. Okay? You can do that same petal, but you can also go wide, give it a little bump. Wide, give it a little bump, a little hump. It's just a different variation. Fills and shading. If you want to shade your flower petals, you shade at the top and it goes long, short, long. Long, short, long. Same thing with these. Long, you're just working on a curved surface. Short, long. Okay? If you want to fill, then you fill on the inside. You can do like 3 little tick marks. You can do little tick marks and dots. Lots of tick marks, lots of dots. Same thing on any one of the flower petals. The more intricate, the more stuff you put inside of the flower petals, the more, man, I really went up tonight. The more intricate you make it look, the more stuff you put, the more crazy, busy, hard it looks to do. But it's super simple, it's just lines and dots. Yeah? The last one that you can create is this one here, but it's an upside down heart. Like so. Either touching at the heart bubble, or if you do it curved, like so, you can make it touch at the base. Your choice. Fill the same. Long on the outsides, small tick marks on the inside, and then you can always fill any way that you choose. Yeah? With that, now you can do any one of the flowers in the middle second row. Let's do our vines. Here's my vine. My vine is an S shape. It's very long, thin, and skinny, but it's sideways. You can do it horizontally, you can do it diagonally, or you can do it up and down. Whichever way you want to do is fine. With your vine, you've got your your leaf petals. It could be like a Hershey kiss, wide at the base, pointy at the top. It could be like the shape of an eye, pointy on the edges, and a little bubble on the inside middle. You can distort it a little bit to make it look like fluid, like it's moving. You can shade it in if you wanted to. Your vine can be thick, like so. And you can go to a point. Your vine can have little loops on it, little swirls. Should you choose to have swirls all over your vine. Your vine can have a teardrop at the end. So if this is my vine, I should do it on this one. I can do the letter J, and then just connect the J to the tip, close it in, and color it in. And then I have a teardrop. Again, the teardrop is the letter J. And I can add that to any one of my vines. Nothing new, right? You're like, yeah, I know how to do all this. Of course. And it's just putting it together. Now that looks silly and dumb on the end just by itself, just because we're doing techniques on one vine. But take a look at the bottom. You got your teardrops there on the bottom vine. Let me show you the line of diminishing and ascending dots. A line of dots that is diminishing, meaning it's getting from big to small, or ascending small to big. So my dots would be, let's do it here, big to small, descending. Here's a big dot, smaller, 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 smaller. Or if you want to go from small to big, okay, let's go small, bigger, 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 bigger. Ascending, getting bigger. Okay? You can do your dots straight across, up and down, diagonal, wavy, curly, swirly, in a circle. Doesn't matter. If you want just dot, 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 all the same size, you can do that too. With everything that you've learned so far, you can do everything on this first page. Might have to manipulate a little corner line here or there, but you can do them all. It's just, where do you start? If you did the bottom line, you're like, oh man, how do I even find one point? Start there, work your way out. Client comes in and says, I want this hairstyle for my quinceañera. You look at it, you're like, oh, there's a lot of curls all over the place. Where do I even start? Find one point, start there, break it down. Okay? All right, let's turn the page. This little design right here is a tail feather. Okay? So let's do that. I'm going to do mine slightly different from what you see here, just to show you a variation, but it is a teardrop nonetheless. Okay? So you go here, teardrop, teardrop, teardrop. It is a descending, meaning it starts big, it goes small. It's the same shape, just changing it up because I'm working from my base point and I'm going around the base point. Okay? Very easy. Sometimes you look at it and you're like, ooh, how do you do that? Don't overthink it. Just let your hand go. Right? Let's take a look at this little bird right here. We're going to do this little bird together. If it's hard for you to look up here and then you do, just look at your page and do from your page. So here, we're going to do a little bird. We're going to start with this head first. The head is like a little eye. Okay, two parentheses put together. It has a beak. So we got a beak going on here. Has an eyeball, and has three little things for hair, which are exactly like our fail points with our flowers. Nothing new. Now we're going to do the body. It's turned over, so we're going to give it a little neck. It's got a little body. It's a U shape, a circle, an oval. Okay, U. It's got little legs, 2 letter L's with tick marks, just like our fill, just like his hair. And then the tail feather, I'm going to erase this previous tail feather so you can see a little bit better. But his tail feather is like the design we just created. Right? So the tail feather, I'm going to let it dry for a quick second, is going to go descending from big to small. Okay? So we're going to go big, smaller, 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 smaller. Yeah? You gotta let your hand flow. Don't grip your marker or your pen. If you grip it, your hand can't flow. The more you grip your eyeliner and you're like, the more you're gonna shake and the more you're gonna mess up the eyeliner. Just let it flow. You just need to practice on the flow, but it'll come. Let me talk to you about the fill of the bird, of the belly of the bird. If I were to do my fill, it's a bunch of daisy petals. This is what we did here. Nothing new. Here's my daisy petal. Yeah? If I line up my daisy petal one on top of the other, it doesn't look right. What I need to do is, here's my daisy petal. I'm going to go in between. You see I'm in the middle of my petal? Now it looks like a scale. You have to go in the middle. You have to find your V. Those are my V's. Okay? So here's my daisy petal. Finish your design. And then go in the middle. Don't make it too small so you don't take forever. I'm not going to finish my design because I'm going to take forever. Okay? And you're done. Fairly easy, no? Yeah, pretty easy. You know how to do all of this. When you first looked at this packet and I told you you're going to be able to do it, you're like, no, I can't miss. Have you seen my stick figure drawings? They're pretty bad. Right? But you can. You can do it. You just don't know how yet. You have to teach yourself the how. Someone's got to teach you the how. But if you sit there and say, I can't, then you're right. You can't. And you won't. And you probably never will. And you're probably going to be exactly where you are 10 years from now because you didn't try. So to a lot of people, drawing is like, oh no, I can't. It's scary. I don't want to. You're not interested. But in cosmetology, guys, we draw. We draw on faces. We draw color on hair. We draw on nails. Okay? It's just what we do. And don't just try once. Practice makes perfect. Exactly. All right, turn the page. We have some more vines here. We have a little fish. Some more flower designs. You can do those with what you just learned. Find one spot. Start there and expand and elaborate. You might have to adjust or kind of change up some little lines, but you can do it. Let's look at this spiral real quick. Turn the page one more time. The spiral flower. Holy moly, how do you do that? Well, I see the vines. I see how I can make my vines. I see that there's 3 big old bunch of designs in the middle. What do I do? There's 3 flowers. Super easy. Let's try the flower. I'm going to make it small here. There's 3 here on the paper. I'm going to do just 1. So do a circle. Dot in the middle. There's a circle around that. If you look, there's daisy petals around that circle. For time, I'm going to do mine really fast so it's not perfect. Okay. Then I look at my design and there's another row of daisy petals, but I'm not going to line them up. I'm going to make it like a scale. So in the middle of the petal, I'm going to join 2 petals, my second row, a little bit bigger. Okay. When I look at my paper, I'm like, okay, 1 more row. 1 more row, but these are bigger petals. Do you see how super easy this is? It just looks hard because there's so much going on. But if you take a second and break it down, you're like, oh, okay. There. Okay? Always break it down. Client comes in and says, I want this nail design on Pinterest. I want it on my hands. And it's like this crazy design. You're like, what do I do? Find the starting point, break it down, and go from there. Turn your page. By the way, you can now do this peacock because everything inside of the design of this peacock, you just learned it. All right, now that you turn your page, this bird, the same bird we just did, it just now has extra tail feathers. On the second piece of paper that you have with your name on it, what you're going to do is you're going to draw this bird. By yourself, I'm not going to help you. You can. Here are some pointers. Do the head first because that's the most basic. Then do the body. And then one tail feather design at a time. Don't grip your marker because the more you grip, the more you shake, the more your hand hurts, the more you're tired. Just let it sit on your hand and just let it flow. Let your hand flow. Just let it go. Don't think, don't overthink it. Don't look at the whole picture. Start up here at the head and then go step by step. Because when you look at the whole thing, it's overwhelming. You're like, I can't do that. If you say you can't, you can, you won't. But you can. Just got to start at a small point. Okay? Do it as big or as little as you like. I'm going to leave you alone here. Make sure your name is on your paper. You're going to leave your papers on your table. You can take this packet home to practice. Bring it back tomorrow. Okay? Grades are due on Friday. Please make sure you turn in your timeline. And that's all I have for you for today.